Alright, what's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Today, going to be taking a look at Litecoin, LTC against USDT. Going to be taking a look at some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing some of the pivotal areas of support and resistance I believe are going to be interacting with in the very near future here. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Are you bullish? Are you accumulating in these lows? Do you think we've found support and we're likely to come back up to this, multi-$100 range, $300, $400 level that we came from not too long ago? Or are we bearish and we're still going to find support at these kind of lower ranges and we have some more downside ahead of us in the kind of short term here? Let me know your thoughts on the direction of price action in the comments down below. Now jumping right into it to kind of recap price action that has interacted with this ascending kind of trend line up until these kind of like, up to the kind of multi-$100 ranges that we got to here. We had price action since the kind of beginning of, November of 2020, end of October there. We have price action coming up, interacting with horizontal kind of support and resistance levels along the way, but ultimately coming back down to this ascending trend line as support along the uptrend here, all the way until kind of like $411 kind of like swing high that we printed there. Although we had this kind of breakout downward on the 21st of March of 2021 to interact with this very significant price level of $177, which is important because I believe this was significant resistance back in the kind of 10th, 9th of January there, and that was significant enough to bring us down to support at $116. Ultimately, the uptrend was continuing. We were bullish enough to kind of like recover off of it, bounce up, print this kind of lower high, but then ultimately consolidate downward toward that ascending trend line to find support. We're bullish enough to break $177 to print some higher highs, interact with an upper range of kind of support and resistance. But we did experience some significant kind of resistance there at that kind of like swing high, and we came back down to this pivotal $177 level. We had some breaks downward. We interacted with that ascending trend line. We price action got all the way down to $153 before it found its way back above $177 to even print another kind of like higher low, to even interact with more resistance and print a higher low relative to that swing low at the 28th of February, finding more support along that ascending trend line to interact with this kind of upper range here between $206 to $226. Now, significant resistance was found. We were, short-term bearish for kind of a period of weeks here. We fell through that ascending trend line, like I said, kind of the 21st of March there to interact with 177 again. Some more higher lows relative to that previous kind of like a couple weeks that we had interacting with it. We were very bullish from that kind of bounce. Plowed all the way through resistance between 226 and 206. Printed those higher highs. We were very bullish. Back above that ascending trend line, price action was looking to make its way, to these kind of like higher highs consecutively, and the bull run was continuing nicely until more resistance was found. Some exhaustion in the uptrend was met at that kind of $400 level. We broke downward, interacted with I believe $300 as a resistance, significant enough to plow through potential support at 226. But we were bearish enough to kind of break through that whole range, plow all the way through 177, and eventually make our way down to $118, just above my $116 support line. And so there's been a very, very aggressive, crazy amount of ups and downs in the past kind of few months here. Ever since we've kind of been above, $116, we've rallied up to just above 400 there, and now we seem to be making our way back down to 116 based on kind of current price action. And so this $177 level becomes relevant again when we consider this potential rejection off of it, as we did come back down to that kind of like $144 level there. And bounced briefly, but came up to 177, came up to technically, 181, but ultimately found resistance under 177, and now we seem to be interacting with potential support again. And so I do believe we're nearing our kind of like final sort of level here of sort of critical support before we can expect some some sort of like short-term downside here. I believe some lower levels could present themselves very quickly if we fail to kind of hold sort of around kind of where we are. Even if we were to hold where we are, we could come up and interact with 177 again and experience a lower high relative to the 15th of June and continue downward through what could have been support at kind of 156 here. And so there's definitely lots going on with Litecoin at the moment. I do believe we are looking for fundamentals as support at this kind of point in time, as there is many technical sort of regions to be a tad short-term bearish. But if we were to consider EngineeringRobo along with the Fibba Zucchini lines of Illuminati, Symmetry, Geometry, and Illuminati again, we can see a new perspective come into play when we consider that 200 daily moving average is near this significant sort of area of resistance, I believe, near that 200 daily MA, the 0.382 Fibonacci line at $172, and my $177 resistance level is going to be a very significant range that we're going to have to build up a lot of momentum to break and make our way back down to it as support. If we were to break upward toward it, that 0.5 Fibonacci line at $218 would be a rather bullish level that we could kind of bounce off of to look to find support above 177 again. I do believe significant support might have to be found at that level before we can continue past that 0.5 Fibonacci line at $218, as I do believe there is a lot of resistance ahead. Price action above that 200 daily moving average will be quite bullish, but although based on price action being below it, that is going to be a technical sell indicator at the moment. And so my kind of bearish target is going to be my $116 support line, which is correlating with that 0.236 Fibonacci level at $115.92. And so I do believe $116 is going to be a very significant level of support if we are bearish enough to kind of make our way down to it. There is a tad amount of support, I believe, above kind of like 144 still that we could very much bounce off of. And so, I mean, there is a slight hope for bullishness in the short term here. I do believe a chance to hold, a chance to recover is not impossible, although there's plenty of technical sell indicators at the moment and technical bear pressure present in the short term. And I do believe some some short term downside might present itself before the uptrend can continue long term. But when we consider Litecoin against the price of Bitcoin, we can see a new perspective come into play, a different kind of crazy trapped sideways interaction with support and resistance here. We seem to be in a very tight range of 4504 Satoshi to 4131 Satoshi. That could be the range we bounce through for a period of weeks. Holding between these levels, I believe, is going to be more long-term bullish. Although we could find our way past 4131 Satoshi and interact with 3729. As my kind of most kind of bearish target against the price of Bitcoin here. We had significant interaction with resistance at 5116 Satoshi, even though we were able to break it at the kind of 3rd of May here, 3rd and 4th here, we were able to break interaction with these kind of higher highs, upper resistance at 6696 Satoshi, which I do believe is a level we will be interacting with in the perhaps long term. But from the looks of it, in the short term, we could experience some wicks downward, some more lows to present themselves before the uptrend can continue. If we were to consider EngineeringRobo along with the Fibba Illuminati lines, we can see a new perspective come into play, interaction with this 200 daily moving average on the price of Bitcoin chart. This is going to be very critical moving forward. Rejections off of it, I believe, are going to be significant enough to plow right through that 0.786 Fibonacci line. Potential support at 4278 Satoshi, I believe, is looking rather weak based on rejections from this 200 daily moving average. We could find our way to that 4131 Satoshi level, sooner than later here. If we were to hold the 0.786 Fibonacci line, we can be more short-term bullish, and we can expect to find our way above that 200 daily moving average again. To find support along kind of that level before we can break. I do believe significant resistance found at 4507 Satoshi. And so we are in a very kind of tight range here. There is potential for some upside and downside in this kind of very crazy sideways. I can be more kind of long-term bullish again if we're above the 4510 Satoshi level, and we are above that 200 daily kind of moving average. In addition to Bitcoin being bullish again, would be a more kind of bullish short-term indicator. But from the technicals, I do believe, based on being below kind of that 200 daily moving average against the price of Bitcoin, and we are near resistance and support at the same time kind of thing. But based on that moving average, I do believe this support is rather weak, and we are likely to break it. Although anything can happen in crypto, momentum can change at any point in time. If we consider Bitcoin against USDT, we can see a new perspective come into play. This rejection off of potential This kind of mild exhaustion and the kind of recovery here. The kind of 15th of June, we had this kind of sell-off. We didn't interact with that 0.618 line yet. We kind of sold off kind of just before it. Still under that 200 daily moving average. We came back to just about that 0.5 Fibonacci line at 34,300. That is going to be a rather significant support level. If we kind of stay above it, we can be kind of more midterm bullish. I do believe there's going to be a very high sell pressure, very high technical, short-term bearish, sell pressure present, and technical reasons why there can be, some continued downside. As 0.618 Fibonacci line at 41,500, I believe is going to be very significant resistance. And as I've kind of been suggesting, even though we can find our way back up to it, it is strong enough to slap us all the way back down to kind of where we came from. My more kind of like short-term bullish support is going to be that 0.5 Fibonacci line at 34,300. Holding at this level will suggest that we can, kind of look to interact with these kind of the upside in the kind of near future here. A minor recovery could begin, but there is plenty of resistance ahead and sell pressure present. So, I believe all the upside is going to be met with heavy retests and pullbacks, and I believe support will likely to be found kind of quite often. Failure to hold that 0.5 Fibonacci line will likely bring us to 32K, which we've had several interactions with and below. So, if we were to be bearish enough to fail to hold that level, I can still be long-term bullish even if Bitcoin is found at 27K, that 0.382 Fibonacci line. Failure to hold that level will require a new analysis, but I can still be long-term bullish even if we're seeing kind of those ranges. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Try EngineeringRobo free with the link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Check out all the other social media down below. Let me know in the comment section. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Have you found support? Are we looking to make our way upward? Are we still bearish? Is there more downside? Let me know what your thoughts are on price action. Thank you for tuning in, and tune in for the next one.